Greetings, everyone, and welcome to Schoolstone. We're your premier weekend show, or for the afternoon. Today, I am joined by Basedinc and RonMexico. This is LotusKnight. Base, our usual caster. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Can't complain. We have streamer extraordinaire RonMexico here. How are you doing, Ron?
I'm doing great, Lotus. I'm excited to be here today. We got a great match too, so I'm really looking forward to casting this one.
This is going to be just a great match. Two players who've been performing really well this season. From F2L Black's side, we have LiquidOx, who I don't think needs any introduction in the THL scene. He's been amazing and having quite the year. Just many popular decks. He was one of the first players, I think, to popularize Galakron Warrior. Taken. And against him we have Icicles from Dead Legend. So, who's also been doing really well in THL. Had a great season last season as well. And this is looking to be a really strong hero match we have for you
guys. Yeah, absolutely is. Both these players are really strong. A bit surprised at LiquidOx's PR, honestly. I've kind of viewed him as a 550 player for a while, but he's climbed his way up to the 1 seed this season. Icicles holding that down strong, and I expect a back and forth match here.
I think so too. I think this is going to be a really tight match. The class choice is really interesting. We have LiquidOx with the Demon Hunter, Druid, Rogue, Warrior, which I would say is probably the most standard lineup we're seeing right now over all classes. Versus Icicles.
Definitely the most commonly brought.
Mm-hmm. Versus Icicles, Druid, Hunter, Mage, and Warrior, which is quite the twist.
No Demon Hunter. It's like he got the news on the nerfs early, but the nerfs haven't come out yet. But Icicles ahead of the curve. Maybe
there's still going to be a little while for him to prepare here, because every single one of these classes is getting at least one nerf. Hunter, it depends if you consider Dragon Queen a core Hunter card or not at this point, but all the others have core cards being nerfed. We can talk about the nerfs later. I'm sure we can do some interesting comments on them, especially during the match. But this is looking like quite the interesting choice of decks. I'm wondering, what are their strategies? What decks are they hoping to sweep with, since this is hero? Or what are they trying to get through? What are you guys thinking? Based, let me ask you first this time.
So I think that Icicles will likely ban the Demon Hunter, because if LiquidOx bans the Warrior, it has really strong sweep potential against the Druid, Hunter, and Mage, unless you really tech that Druid. And you can kind of help out with the Mage, but that's the real big sweep potential for him. And then on the other side, if you ban that Demon Hunter, Mage has a pretty solid shot against the Druid, Rogue, and the Warrior. So we might see a Bomb Warrior there to try and make sure that the Mage doesn't get too crazy on his lineup after a Demon Hunter ban.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think the Mage is a really interesting class there, because it's looking like, and I say this, and I've told you guys I was swept by Mage last week. Exactly with LiquidOx's lineup. So it's interesting for me to see this from a different perspective, and hopefully not see the Mage high roll for 3 matches again.
Yeah, if the Mage gets just that curve and survives, it really has the most late game power of any deck. That's really popular, aside from maybe a Priest that's generated 1 million cards. But yeah, I think that this should be really exciting, and it's going to be really fun to see. It looks like we might have up to six heroes in this. Or 5, I think, at most.
Yeah,
but always exciting.
Yeah, but always exciting to see a little bit of variety. And I kind of agree with your assessment too on what the likely bans are. I'd say it's about a 99% chance that Ox is going to ban Warrior, and Icicles. I wouldn't be too surprised if he bans Warrior, but looking at the lineups, it does make a lot of sense that this is like a ban Demon Hunter strategy.
Right. I think this really looks like a strong Demon Hunter, especially because the Mage and the Hunter do not want to face it, and his lineup as a whole just doesn't want to face Warrior. So it's fine to say I'm just not going to worry about Demon Hunter, and Ox will have to get through the other classes. There's no class with such a high sweep potential. And I think they've started to share their bans, so we're going to know what the bans actually were soon. While we're waiting for that, I want to ask you guys, what do you guys think of the impacts of the nerfs? I'll start with our special guest today. Ron, any thoughts?
Wow, they really hit Demon Hunter hard. What is this? Nerf 5, Nerf 6. We got like 10 plus Demon Hunter cards that have been nerfed at this point. And this one looks pretty significant. I'm sure Demon Hunter's still going to find a way to be strong, and we've got a new expansion incoming soon. It also hits Mage pretty hard with the Dragon Caster. Hunter is probably the most affected Highlander deck as well. The Rogue nerf was something that I think had been overdue for a while, changing those zeros to ones. It's going to be interesting. I think overall it's probably just a little bit healthier for the game with the nerfs that they're making. The only thing I really disagree with, I'm like, why you got to do Kane like that? Kane could be a 3-5. Why you got to make him a 3-4?
They just want to make him a little worse on curve, I think.
Yeah.
So we got the bans in. Icicles has banned away the Demon Hunter, and Ox banned away the Warrior, like we predicted.
Just 1 minute and we'll be all set to start. I think just add to what you were saying, I feel like Rogue is in a really bad spot now because all Rogue decks were just around Galakron. I don't think Galakron is playable anymore. Not at the current list. I think you will need to switch a lot to fit Galakron in.
You probably need a much heavier curve than you're running. Otherwise, that big swing turn isn't really going to catch you back up because you have to wait a turn. Is my guess. I think that they're likely printing another late game strategy for Rogue that they'd like to see get played next expansion is what I'm hoping for. Maybe something that generates lots of cards from the classes and pushes the quest.
Yeah, that would be pretty interesting. The Rogue quest has been largely forgotten other than just using it occasionally in lists where you try not to complete the quest, just to use quest payoff cards.
Yeah, it's a pretty easy quest to complete. Like the reward is solid, and if you just give it more ways to abuse having that powerful weapon or better ways to generate cards, like it could really work.
Yeah, we'll see. We're all waiting with bated breath to find out what that's going to be.
If they'll ever announce a new expansion, I think that might be it. This is just it. This is the end. No more expansions. Demon Hunter forever.
Please no. I'm just happy to see something new. This has been a very expansion, in my opinion. I think a lot of it has been Demon Hunter. Just to remind y'all, they gave them a 15-card set within the new set. 15 of the cards were Demon Hunter. 14 Demon Hunter cards were nerfed. And if you count the 30 basic set, that means 1/3 of Demon Hunter has been nerfed, or the equivalent of a whole expansion of Demon Hunter. So it's kind of scary to see that much for a single class need a nerf. Galakron Shaman never got to that
level. They are starting the matchup.
Right, excellent. Have our band.
Right, excellent. Do we have our bands in?
It was just like we thought. Icicles banned away Demon Hunter and Ox banned away Warrior.
Perfect.
Sylvanas!
Just waiting on my client to catch up here. Almost
That can
into
always take a
spectate.
little while. We do see a really good starting hand for the Hunter, and a pretty good for the Bomb Wall.
Yeah.
Someone's gotta lead the charge.
I think we're seeing quite smooth starts. The question is just going to be, is he going with a 2-3 Pirate? Or is he going to go with Corsair Cache to just play that weapon turn 3 and start killing whatever the Demon Hunter can put down?
It does look like this is a bomb warrior, like you said. So it, could be the 4-mana weapon. Nope, always Ankar.
Always Ankar. Yeah.
Nice.
And here we do have a pretty good start from Icicles as well, as far as the on-curve plays he wants to make. So this is power versus power right now.
Yeah. I think you might be looking at a coin Shadow Weaver. You're not sure if it's bomb. I would expect it to be bomb, with just how the lineups looked.
True.
But
that is probably the biggest consideration right now for Icicles. Does he want to just press the button, take a trade? Interesting. Oh, he's not going to use the coin still. Okay. I thought for a second he might coin that hero power. I thought that'd be unusual.
Likely going to see the Zephyr's coin ooze come out right here. Could be, holding it back.
Also, might
weapon.
just want to save the coin because
he
could just as easily play Shadow Weaver on curve and then Zeph ooze while still holding the coin.
Yeah, that's true.
Some interesting options. I think Desert Spear's unlikely, as is Evasive Feywing, but you never know. And we are just going to see the freeze. Ox with a Quartermaster. And a pretty easy clear.
Yeah.
A decent top deck. He doesn't have to use the Zeph play. It might just be better because you're worried about those pirates, but he could be planning on holding Zeph to deal with the bomb weapon.
Yeah, I think that's likely what you want to say before, and you can probably, if you wait a little bit longer, get a Harrison as well. So it looks like we might be seeing the Faceless Corruptor come out right here. That or the Desert Spear. Yeah, I think we're just gonna see this.
And definitely a reasonable choice as well. Puts the most immediate power on the board right now, clears up the minion, and Ox now has to answer these 2 4-attack minions.
Yeah.
Which, shouldn't be too difficult.
Right. This is looking like a really good start for both players, so we're going to have to see if Icicles can keep the warrior out of the board for long enough and just keep pouring out threats. I did kind of like the idea of destroying the weapon early, because without Ankar, warrior is a lot weaker.
Yeah, the trade-off is, Icicles kind of was getting a little bit more bang for his buck for his cards, but right now we're seeing Ox's hand grow and Icicles' hand shrink. So
he is going to apply a lot of pressure here.
Yeah.
Going with the spear over the Scale Rider. Reasonable to just get that weapon online now, though, and try to flood the board as much as possible. But knowing Anchor draws Skipper, and Skipper can clear all these 1/1s, maybe not the best payoff for the spear yet.
No. But there is no...
no Armorsmith yet.
No Armorsmith, yeah. But this is likely to pick one up.
Or just more armor, which is also good for Ox here in his game plan with the shield block in hand.
At this point, Icicles is really out of pressure.
Yeah, I would say the way this is looking really kind of favors Ox pretty heavily at this point. Icicles doesn't have any of his power cards except for Zephyrus, which he's holding, we assume, to hope for a lethal opportunity. Might just see Scale Rider hit the board here and clear.
Yeah, probably a hero power, just because you need to start. I don't
Can't
think you're
miss the button.
expecting. Yeah, board to
Oh,
stick.
he does choose to miss the button. He thinks maybe this board could stick.
It is, not one that you really want to remove as the warrior, and it is a turn before the Deathwing.
True, and also maybe just hoping to force out some awkwardness in resources. Ox very cleanly though, gaining 8 armor, really getting out of range. Interesting, we see a Waste Warden inclusion in Icicles' deck, clearly prepared for the Druid.
Yeah, I think this is a smart inclusion because the druid can be really rough for the hunter if you don't have something that just ends their glowflies.
Vengeance is near.
Absolutely.
It's just a super awkward turn. Like, at this point, you're either hoping for the top deck that actually can pressure the warrior, or you might have to use the Zephyrus as just.
I was hoping
like
Icicles would go max damage rather than max board by sending the weapon swing face and using the rusher. It does damage Deathwing by 1 more, I suppose, by having the wider board though. But Ox, pretty easy turn 8 Deathwing play, clear up the board. Have a 12-4 live.
Okay.
Oh, there's a pickup.
The bummer is that it'll get to deal 8 face and leave behind a 2/4, but the Deathwing cleanly trades it off.
True. Icicles might also be debating on whether or not he just wants to use the Zephyrus right now and go with the Bran hero power on turn 9. He could always play Feywing Zephyrus Eviscerate or something, but he just really doesn't find the pressure he needs to end this game.
Is there anything that could deal 4 and then leave a body behind that you would want?
Could get BGH just to kill.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, but then your board is super weak to Bladestorm.
Right.
Yeah.
Zephyrus didn't want to go with Eviscerate, thought Shadow Word Death would be more stylish. You do you, Zeph. You do you.
Yeah, and this is going to be a huge turn.
Yeah, and this looks like it's pretty much going to almost end the game in Ox's favor.
The only out here for Icicles is to draw one and only DQA. If he's playing Nargrand Slam, that could be a card that turns the game here. But other than those two, I cannot see something.
Right, yeah. Ox just sitting at a comfortable 25 health again after everything that Icicles has been able to throw at him. And, sitting there on his end with 27 health, but, health can be a resource in these games, and he has not been afforded the opportunity to use his health as a resource to get ahead.
Right. Yeah. He didn't have any of his card draw as a hunter as well. I don't think he got any of the tools he could be using to refill his hand. Not a big hunter fan right now, but I think this has been a fairly rough match for Icicles in terms of his later pickups, but that Dragon Queen could be enough to turn it.
I mean, he does have all of his Highlander payoff cards in the top 14 of his deck, which, is generally what Hunter likes to see. But we're just seeing so much on Ox's end as far as just resources, power, everything he needs.
Yeah.
And now he's got to choose Dragon Queen here or Brand, because one of these will be deactivated with the next swing from
Yeah.
Ox's weapon.
I think we are on a must high roll Dragon Queen game plan at this point.
It really does look like it. Brand's going to have to be a sad 7-mana 2/4.
Yeah, because the other option I see is probably the Tiamat.
Whoa.
That's
Well,
okay. Well, I think you probably have to play Ysera and then Deathwing.
yeah, you probably do.
Because you're alive to the
considering
board
the-
by one.
Yeah, you don't really want to rely on being one off. And we can see, obviously, Ox's hand says that if this is not the play from Icicles here, the game is over, with Grom pushing for lethal.
Yeah.
All right, and Highlander effects are shut off. Granted, they would be anyway. So Icicles going for the 12/12 and the chance of a bunch of Dream Portals showing up.
Yeah.
Bladestorm pretty easily deals with that Deathwing, though. And then he can swing and play Blastmaster Boom. Looks like he's playing Boom first. Okay, he did swing
just did it
first.
so quickly.
He just, he was anxious to play the Boom. But Ox, a very solid technical player, didn't want to play Boom as the original, just a 7/7 summon 2/1/1s. And Icicles not drawing a Dream Portal off the top, knows this game is over. The Hunter is eliminated, and the Warrior for Ox will stay up.
So here's where it might get a little rough. I think you probably bring in the Druid next.
Most likely, he has to bring the Druid. It's one of the better counters to Warrior. Mage is frequently a counter to Warrior, but when Warrior has bombs, it is far less so.
You could do it with
Yes.
Spellmage. Spellmage is way better against Warrior, just because if he thought to bring Spellmage, you can outlast the Warrior pretty well. You're not that good versus their armor, but you can still put a lot of threats, and it's kind of hard to deal with all of them.
That is a good point.
That is a good point, and that would be a very interesting idea if Icicles had done so. He is going to go with the Druid, though. I think that's the correct choice here. Druid is generally favored versus Warrior. Although, again, the Bomb Warrior really has far better percentages than other Warriors do against Druid. Holding an Overgrowth in hand for Icicles. He's got what he wants in the mulligan, which is ramp.
Yeah. It looks like this might be a spell druid, with the no Breath of Dreams, just because of the Rising Wind inclusion, or possibly had more room because he wasn't expecting a Demon Hunter.
Yeah, interesting. I think you're probably right that this is more spell heavy. Rising Winds is usually that dead giveaway. Even if you did find room for it, you probably still wind up just including different cards if you're going with the dragon heavy version.
Yeah, I do like the choice to keep Ysera, just because you have ramp, you're going to get it down, and so if you can keep your threats and your boards as spread out as possible, it's really hard for the warrior or the bomb warrior to deal with it. And it also will dilute some of the bombs that get shuffled in.
Oh, wow. And look at that pickup from a Skyraider, a free skipper.
Yeah.
That could come up huge for Ox.
It could also just be we saw the Soul of the Forest, so it's likely including Glowfly.
Oh, there is a Breath of Dreams.
Yeah. Interesting. So probably took the space that has been being used for Claw for a bit more draw, a little bit more consistency.
He could also be going for one of the builds that doesn't play Savage Lord. He is bringing the Soul of the Forest, so Sounds unlikely.
Do you think we just see a coin overgrowth here? Or would Icicles want a Breath of Dreams? Well, that answers that question.
Yeah,
Just going to use a Crystal Power now to clear a 1-2. Not sure about that.
Yeah, I think I like coin overgrowth a bit better just because it sets it up. I think the only disadvantage is next turn. This turn he can just overgrowth, and next turn he can coin the Sarah, which is a play that wins the game a lot.
Right, that must be the game plan here to play overgrowth on this turn and be holding the coin specifically for Ysera. He's even got the Iron Bark to just immediately taunt up Ysera, which can be a really big problem for the warrior. And Ox, pretty straightforward game plan so far. Druid goes slow. Warrior tries to hit him in the face a bunch. Put bombs in their deck. All right, and do we see the Iron Bark come down on this Ysera?
I think so, just because you probably don't want to take another 8.
Yeah, I would expect to do so as well. I think it's the right play, and Icicles is going to taunt it up here. Well, that's 15 more health to try to get through. And that's a 9 mana card coming down right before Ox's turn 6.
What is...
Considering a skipper play, is he looking to draw cards?
So if you go skipper,
Or the brute.
Draw. So you can't... Brute. Because you lose the 5 damage that you would get from playing the brute?
Yeah, that is a little awkward. Maybe Ox wasn't thinking about that, or maybe he just wants to hold the brute and wanted the card draw primarily over anything else.
No, he didn't have the Bladestorm, which is the clean answer that you're probably expecting as Icicles. You know, you're like, well, I'll just taunt this up. It's weak to the Bladestorm, but I still, I still prevent the 5 going face.
And also maybe Ox was just looking for one other answer card because he was 1 off being able to kill this Ysera with the Shield Slam.
Yeah.
And the Weapon Swing and the 2 minions attacking.
I thought you had exactly enough to do it. Because you could get up to 7 armor, Shield Slam for 7, Hidden for 3, and then you had exactly the 15.
Oh, if he hadn't used the Battle Rage, yeah.
Yes, yeah. That's, kind of what I was thinking at the time.
Pulled 1 strong dragon off of the portals. Now just going to clear up the troublesome minions. This seems like a perfectly fine play from Icicles. Just get everything that helps deal with the board out of there.
Yeah. Very, a lot of that stuff wasn't very threatening, but I think the biggest concern was brute, right? So we cleaned up all of the...
Absolutely, or
the
double
damage.
brute, not knowing if Ox is holding it. This was very weak to Bladestorm and just anything, but fortunately for Icicles, he didn't have it. Unfortunately for Icicles, those are a lot of boom bots.
Yeah, 6, 12. So that's lethal, right? No, 1 off.
With double Savage Roar and the Power of the Wild and an Iron Bark and Hero Power?
Oh, that is lethal then. I missed Iron Bark.
I think that's what Icicles is probably counting right now. 13 on board.
No.
You get another 12 from the 2 Savage Roars, right? So that's 25.
So yeah,
26,
one off.
27 with power, 28 with Iron Bark, 29 with hero power. He is one off.
Wow.
He may just want to go with a Glowfly and a Soul. Looks
Yeah,
like that
I
might
think
be the plan instead.
try and soak up as many of these boom bots.
I think he probably just pushes Face, actually.
Oh yeah, I meant just like because these are going to get traded off. I do like killing off the 7 though. That's probably what you have to do, just because you cannot let that thing connect Face.
Yeah, that's true. If Ox has an easy way to clear through this, like with a brawl or something, then if the boom had survived, 7 Face could be death.
Yeah, I think you're worried about, like, in this position as the Druid, you feel pretty confident, right? Like, this is going to be really hard for Ox to remove cleanly. And then...
I think Ox is probably trying to go with the Deathwing play here.
Yes.
Hoping that as many Glowflies get killed as possible, and that's a lot.
That was a lot of Glowflies.
We're looking at only 2/2s are going to survive this board. From the Death Rattle?
I think up to 3.
Oh, right, if the... Actually, yeah, you're right.
So that's 16, so that's lethal.
Yeah, this is lethal.
And yeah, 6 on board, plus another 12 from Savage Roar, plus another 3 from Power, plus an Iron Bark. And Icicles already had it plotted out, knew this board was going to be difficult to clear for the Warrior, and that's why Druid is favored. And Druid gets there. Nicely done on his end, and we're tied up at 1-1.
And this Druid is not going to be easy for Ox. He's got his own Druid and a Rogue left.
Yeah, so we probably see my worst nightmare, which is Druid versus Druid.
Oh, yeah. And there is the actual worst nightmare of the Tree Druid versus the
Ox.
Hero Elise Druid.
Why, Ox? Why?
And that is the Glowfly in the opening hand. So I'm definitely of the opinion that you keep this Glowfly. I would even consider the Rising Winds just to try and get another spell in your hand for the Glowfly.
I agree, because you can use it for card draw, and it's a twin spell, so it stays. You don't lose the total volume of spells. And the way you win in this mirror often is just stick the Glowfly early and beat them up before they can answer.
Yes. I think, you know, ramp is important in this matchup, but it's whoever plays the first board and then capitalizes on it is who's going to win the match. So if you have Glowfly first and you have a Savage Roar, the game is pretty much over.
On Ox's side, probably a full mulligan, and
Yes.
it is. And he's got a Glowfly as well, along with a Mount Seller and a ramp card. If he finds a dragon, this could get dicey for Icicles. We're going to see the very thrilling turn 1 pass. And I think we see a Rising Winds draw to lead off.
There is the dragon. The dragon's on Ox's side.
And of course, on Ox's side, he did find the dragon. So here's draw right back. That's also ramp.
And he has the Savage Roar and the Power of the Wild.
So he's ramped and he has coin, which means on the next turn, he can actually coin the Glowfly.
But if you coin the Glowfly, you're only getting
he's
currently
holding too many minions, so would not be a good idea.
Yeah, you're up to getting 4 here.
Probably not.
It is
good
enough to actually kill. So, no, it's not enough to kill. It's enough to deal, 22. But
just wants to stick it now.
I do think because you have the Power of the Wild that this is a really solid play, because if they want to try and match you and go a coin or an Innervate Glowfly, you can trade off a lot of their board. But Icicles is for 6.
Or is it 5?
Oh yeah, because of the Innervate coming out as well, it'd be a 5. You are correct.
So that would be kind of disastrous for Icicles. You know, he'd have one more glowfly on the board, which looks good on its surface, but holding Power the Wild on Ox's side, that can just be devastating, because then Icicles will be forced to scramble for an answer, and looking at his hand, he doesn't really have one.
Yeah.
Overgrowth could be a consideration, but not holding anything that he really wants to play with the Overgrowth, he'd be kind of just hoping for a Mount Cellar top deck.
Yeah. Ooh, and the soul is huge. Get to push the 8, guarantee yourself a board, set up lethal for next turn.
And it's crazy to see just how fast the lethal setup can come. On Icicles' side, in a troublesome spot here. I wonder if he leads Fungal to try to find an answer, or just plays a taunt.
I think I like leading with the fungal and playing your own glowfly here, because you have Iron Bark to soak up a little bit of damage, and yeah, especially with this Savage Roar pickup, this is looking really good. You could even you know, kill off one of
Innervate,
these,
Crystal Power.
or heal yourself.
It doesn't remove any
It doesn't
damage
power
immediately from the board. Yeah, do we just see 5 heal on his face?
I think that Icicles is now realizing that it's not going to clear up anything, but I think he's looking forward to not just after I survive this next turn, how do I then take a better command of the board? So
right, still merit, of course, to clear the first half of a 2/2 minion.
Yeah.
And Ox just going in with the power right now.
Yeah. You remove this. You're still dead to double, but you're not dead to a single Savage Roar.
He's probably taking the chance, or maybe we see a half measure where the 5/3 trades, or one of the 5/3s trade, and 10 goes face. Would that take off lethal from double?
No, because if they have 4 glowflies, each Savage Roar is 10. So he would have to remove 2 of these to prevent a double Savage Roar lethal. But I think in Ox's position, you can afford to do it. I think because you have you have a Mount Cellar that's going to set off twice, and still you have a board here.
Plays around the burst, probably the maximum best way that he can here, with just sending only 5 face. Icicles, is this Moonfire time with trades and an overflow?
So you can clear up.
He can leave only a 3/3 if he wants to.
Yeah, I'm
heal
curious
and draw.
if you'd rather play the Emerald Explorer though. Or yeah, because you might need to overflow just because you probably need to have a Mount Cellar turn coming up. Or, even just a Glowfly.
Wow. There's a Ysera. You probably take that out of these options. Do you really ever take Evasive Worm? Yeah.
No, I think you take
Ysera has to be the pick.
Yeah, especially with the overflow in hand. Choosing between those two. I like it. Makes it so that a Bog Beam that gets a Zixor doesn't quite get there.
Right, and now Ox having to go in with the Mount Cellar and only 2 spells.
I think you might want to, hit this.
Not the beast he wanted. He's going to taunt it up anyway to protect the Mount Cellar better.
Yeah.
And that's definitely a beast he wanted. Not quite enough to kill this, just barely. And we see Icicles' decision to hero power and kill the 3/3 really paid off. Now, though, how does he deal with this Mount Cellar?
I mean, lucky for him, he doesn't have to. But
Right, there are only 3 cards in hand for Ox right now.
Yeah.
He may be considering the Ysera into Overflow, hoping he's not dead yet, which means he probably needs to play Bog Beam. But that would still, in order to trade, well, I guess he couldn't trade. He'd have to Bog Beam the 2/2.
How curious.
Yeah, I
Just
think
gonna
I
Overflow
like.
now.
Yeah, this play right here of overflowing now.
And he does find the Mount Seller, so he can go off next turn.
Yeah. Man. I don't think you want to spend the Bog Beam. I don't really want to spend any of these cards. I mean, yeah.
Gonna tank 4.
Does want to get his draw.
You know, doesn't want to lose a card off the top either.
Oh man.
Oh wow, what a draw for Ox there. And now we might be seeing a whole lot of random beasts.
Oh man, I was gonna say if you have to look at this Glowfly, just create 2, and you know that there were no spells other than this. I mean, you're probably gonna find out in a little bit here that there were no spells in the hand before this.
And that is a brutal turn for Icicles to have to answer. Ox kind of been on the aggressive through basically the entire game. Icicles on the back foot trying to find ways to stay alive. And now it's down to random beasts, most likely.
Yeah. I was wondering if maybe you take in that Stormo because the only out is a Mount Seller turn. If you say, what's your APM? Let's go.
So many contradictions. I supply only the finest creatures.
All right. Yep. Going with the Innervate Fungal and seeing if random beasts can come to the rescue. He does find a taunt. A Bog Beam is good for him. Discards a Mount Seller. It's to draw 1 more card. Doesn't have the mana to play it.
And that is lethal.
That is lethal on board. Just a hero power ends this game. Icicles sees it, and Ox wins in the Druid Mirror, takes the 2-1 lead. Icicles' Druid is now eliminated, and Icicles is down to his final class, which is reasonably well positioned against a Druid in Mage.
So the question is, was everyone happy by watching a Druid Mirror?
I thought both players played it really well.
Yeah, honestly, that was one of the better Druid Mirrors I've ever seen. You know, Ox inevitably won off that first board, it felt like, but it had a lot of back and forth. There was a chance, but, you know, the top decked Fungal Fortunes just won the game.
It was entertaining. I did still throw up in my mouth a little bit, but
I didn't have to play it.
We're moving on to the next game, and as we can see, Icicles did not choose to go with the Spell Mage to increase his warrior percentages, just going with the standard stronger overall power list in Highlander.
Yeah, that is one of the grosser hands I've ever seen in a Druid Open.
Yeah, Ox's hand is really disgusting right now. With everything that he wants, basically. If Icicles chooses to play Zephyrus before he has to use it to answer something, that might just doom him.
Oh my gosh. Overgrowth off the top. What is
Rips
this?
an Overgrowth right off the top, and LiquidOx is looking like you know, F2L is the team of destiny to deny Dad Legend's playoff chances, because this would be a full sweep of Dad Legend if Ox wins this game over Icicles, which may deny them from playoffs.
I'm wondering if you can afford to slam a Mount Seller right there.
That would be way too dangerous, I think. I mean, it could bait the Zeph, right, for a Shadow Word.
Yeah, you know, it would take the whole turn to remove, but Ox choosing to burn a card because he can go Glowfly, Innervate Soul.
Yeah, this is going to be really problematic for him. Wants to go with a Mount Seller instead.
Probably a Innervate Fungal consideration. I mean,
And that just burns more cards.
yeah, but
Innervates Ysera. Always a strong card to get on the board on your
I don't love
opponent's
this
turn
play now,
4.
though. I think this is kind of weak compared to what you could do.
yeah, I think that Ox is saying he can afford to slow down a little bit, and then after this, all of his turns are insane.
Well, also just pretty crazy to think about that what we are considering Ox slowing down is playing a 9-mana card that puts these portals in his deck.
All he did was play a 4/12. Like, instead of playing an entire board out of nothing while drawing cards. So I'm not. Oh yeah, this is.
And yeah, the consideration too was obviously he didn't want to burn cards with the fungal and could use fungal to draw portals. And there's the payoff with a Murazond. The first portal was not what he wanted, but the following one's quite good. Gets a Rush Beast again.
Yeah,
obviously going to taunt up the Murazond.
Taunting up the big stuff.
This is a Shadow Word Ruin, probably, from Icicles.
You can Frost Nova Doomsayer.
Actually,
you have not seen either Bog Beam.
That would be the worry. We can see that Ox isn't holding it, so Doomsayer Nova would be likely paid off. It's a bit of a risky play, but probably the upside is just too high to not do it.
Yeah, I think that you're looking at it and going, well, if they answer this, they answer it. You have Zephyrus Brawl as a backup.
Doesn't have it, yep. So he plays the Soul, so he'll have a board after this Doomsayer clears.
Wow, it's an amazing comeback here from Icicles' side because I thought this was going to be over really early, and seems to be getting the board again.
I wonder if we just see Arcane Breath Rolling Fireball because it deals with so many of these, and you're probably not that threatened by 2 Treants.
Yeah, leaves 2 behind. Maybe you can pick up a second Arcane Breath. Yes,
and
you
he
can.
Does. Oh wow, that's
or
big.
The Blizzard.
Also Blizzard, which just full clears right now.
I think
there's even a consideration to take the Blizzard and play the Fireball.
Yeah.
Or just always take Arcane Breath because then it gives you Blizzard next. It could be anything. It could even be a Blizzard.
I kind of think you want to take the Blizzard here and play the Rolling Fireball. I think that's what's most appealing to me. That, or just going Arcane Breath and rolling again. But I feel like having a Blizzard is going to be really big because there's 5 more dragons. You've seen 1 Mount Seller. There's still both. What's it called?
Yeah. The
Explorers. Yeah, there's still Explorers. There's still Glowflies. Like there's still a ton of threats that Blizzard can deal with.
I do really like this play from Icicles taking the Blizzard and holding back.
Okay.
And this probably is just going to force the Blizzard now, even though it can't full clear. Alternatively, he could Zeph Brawl. Amazing Reno is a massive pickup to have in this back pocket as well.
Yeah, you probably take Shadow Flame. Is there a 3 that deals one-sided?
You could be fancy and take Chaos Nova and miss ping.
Yeah, Shadow.
Yeah, Shadow Flame definitely the consideration there. Makes a lot of sense. Clears up the board completely. And now just holding answer after answer.
Wait.
Ox. Wanted to get the card out of the hand for overflow to not burn. Really funny that he was pointing it at Icicles' face first there.
Your feeble magic amuses me.
Okay, and we still have 3 Dream Portals in the deck. Pulling two really good ones here. And gets to push a little bit of damage with the Moonfire as well. Bit awkward on breakpoints too for Siamat. So what does Icicles do here? Does this just force a Blizzard to stall?
You could go slow and Ray of Frost to 5/7 and Divine Shield Taunt the Siamat.
Right.
Hope that they draw the rest of their dragons and commit some more to the board and Reno everything next turn.
Could even wait a bit longer to Reno just to force them to keep losing their portals. Just by freezing one of them and playing maybe the
That's true.
Rusty just to put in the link taunt.
I wonder.
I do like the Ray of Frost Siamat play. Forcing out the Blizzard feels bad for Icicles. And Ox, not knowing that he was holding that, must be pretty happy that these 2 portals baited that.
Oof.
He's just going to take it slow.
Yeah, you got a Ysera off of the Explorer, which is going to be very rough.
Yeah, that second Ysera is really bad news for Icicles. There is the chance to... No, I don't think you can risk a Dragon Queen in a single Ray.
I think you are at this point assuming that they have...
The option was still there for Siamat and Double Ray. Double Ray here with this clear also works out quite nicely.
Yeah, he's definitely trying to pull Ox more onto the board.
My dream is
And Ox, yeah, just got a second Ysera. There's now, what, 9 Dream Portals in deck, I think?
Yeah, back
Out
up
of that 12 card hand, 9 of them are portals. Really difficult position for Icicles now. You want to Reno and you don't want to Reno simultaneously.
I wonder if this is a Kaligos. Like
Calicos and probably Deep Freeze, unless you find something better, like
Yeah,
Frost
no.
Nova.
No, because you can't afford to just Reno this board, knowing that all the dragons are still in deck.
Right. Might still choose to just Deep Freeze now.
Yeah, so
Bit on the dangerous side. Gonna freeze the highest attack minion. And here come portals.
This is lethal. So the double Saboteur power, the wild hero power, and Bog Beam clear up this is game over.
Yeah, I would have liked to see the Nova just because of the danger of Druid, you know, having anything with a reasonable amount of power stick. Did about as good as he could against this Onslaught, though, and Ox playing it incredibly well, sees it right away, and that is going to end this series in 4 games. Ox taking a 3-1 victory, and very possibly eliminating Dad Legend from the playoffs. F2L embracing the villain role and getting to play Dream Crusher. And do you think we can get Ox in for an interview?
I'm adding him to the channel right now.
All right. Hey, welcome, Ox. Congratulations on your win.
Yo, what's up? Thanks.
That was a wild set of games. I was hoping for a bit less Druid that we all had to watch, but you know, it happens. You played it extremely well.
I just drew the ramp and then played the ramp. It plays itself.
Your opening hand in that final game was
that last game was
really
unfair.
disgusting.
I was sitting there just like, how is he still in this game? Like, this game should have ended on turn, like, I would say turn 5, but like I had 10 mana at that point. So
Yeah.
the game should have been over.
he had all the answers, but you had
Yeah,
even more questions than he had answers.
for sure. It was a nuts hand that just no deck in the game beats that. Even with the perfect curve. Like, I think his hand beats that druid if I don't have like the exact nuts.
Well, he was, of course, holding Reno. He actually decided to not play a Frost
didn't play
Nova
Reno.
he had Reno. He obviously wanted to disappear the
Yeah.
board after all the
After the
extra
second
dream
use-
portals
yeah.
came out. The interesting thing was he could have Frost Nova'd your board there, but took the chance that you didn't have the full burst, and of
It's-
course got the bad news that you
I
did.
mean, there's like what 3 cards in my deck, so the percentage that I don't have both Savage Wars in hand is like extremely low there. That's interesting. I think you have to, because I think I was in a similar situation in the first game where I saw the Druid Mirror, where I'm in the position where I have the 3/5/3s. I could like the play if I can know his hand and I know what his hand is to fully go face, but they're like, yeah, I was working at, you have to work at the percentage of like how often he has both Savage Wars in hand. Because every time he has both Savage Wars in hand, you lose that game. And I was like, you have to weigh up whether you're in a good enough position that if he has both Savage Wars and whether both Savage Wars is likely enough that if that's there, you lose. So I ended up trading mainly because I think I was far enough ahead that I don't think I risk it on the like 20% or whatever. He has both Savage Wars. But it's hard. The druid, that's what makes the druid mercer tough. Like, do you call their bluff? Can you say which cards are dead in their hand and which cards, if they're playing top decks instantly, do you know like which cards are dead and which cards are probably Savage Drawers? Like, it's so hard to read, especially early on. So that's what everyone says. Druid, no skill, just draw ramp. But in certain situations, it can definitely be quite skill intensive, just from a hand reading point of view, I guess.
That's an excellent point. Yeah, we were all really interested in what you were going to do after the Savage Roar, if you would push as much face as possible or take the trades enough to specifically just deny the double Savage Roar lethal. He didn't have it, but it was interesting to see the inner workings there, and you kind of working through the math and seeing, how do I not die to this?
Yeah, it's interesting. You got to work at like, it's also how often he has it. Like, is it worth the risk of pushing it face? Although that's like quote unquote the correct play. 80% of the time, if it's the correct play, 80% of the time, do you take that risk? Like 20% of the time, is it worth? Because I think I was ahead, so I didn't need to take the risk. But maybe if my hand is worse or I don't have enough damage, then maybe I don't take the risk. I'm not sure. It's an interesting dynamic in that matchup, and I thought I played it well enough to win, I guess. And then the last game was just a washout because Breath of Dreams into Overgrowth.
Yeah, that was crazy, that last game. Some really interesting ones beforehand, though. Base, was there anything that jumped out to you?
No. So what I saw when you chose to make the trades and say that you could afford to play a double Savage Roar is you had refill, you had Mount Cellar with some 0-cost spells in your hand. That's what I thought that you were doing that for. And I guess I want to say that I think that what Icicles did at the end with the Deep Freeze was probably the best, because I think at that point he had to say, you don't have the Power of the Wild as well, or you're missing one of those 3 cards. Otherwise, he's going to lose the game at some point.
Did he have a Frost Nova in hand and a Reno?
he discovered the Frost Nova off of Caligos.
Interesting, because I think I would have taken the Frost Nova frozen there. The next turn, all the dragons come out from Reno, and then you Reno. And then you rely on either Box or Reno spells to clear the final wave. And then I think you have a better chance of winning from the mage point of view. But it's,
Yeah.
I don't know. It was his in a way. And again, if I'm missing one of those cards, I think his play's correct. So that's what it relates to the point I was talking about earlier about whether you take the risk. But there was only 2 or 3 non-portal cards in my deck that could have been one of those 3 cards. So it's, I don't know. It's
Yeah.
definitely Hearthstone is not as easy when you get into these complex turns as people think it is.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely agree that it was playing in percentages. Yeah. Let's see. Oh man, there's something I was gonna ask. I forgot it.
Maybe it'll come to you. What about you, Lotus? Any highlights or any specific things that jumped out to you about
I
the
think it was
series
a
we
really
watched?
interesting match. I want to ask a little bit about a very early thing. Did you expect the Demon Hunter ban? And if not, were you planning around it?
We were out of playoff contention since last week. I was originally gonna bring meme decks, and then Base told me I was on stream, so I got told not to bring me. So I brought meme decks in pro because we're out of playoffs. And I had my quest druid already. And then I was on stream, so I thought I'd play real decks. So I had control Demon Hunter all lined up, and that's fair because it sweeps. I think it sweeps the mage, Demon Hunter, and druid. I think control Demon Hunter sweeps that. So he banned correctly, actually. I would say the ban was a good move from his part, whether he knew about control or not. But I didn't really plan anything. I just brought 4 decks in my collection. Not to be. Yeah.
Sure. I mean, you brought the most common hero lineup, the one that is generally been kind of the strongest overall. Although with a few wrinkles, like often it's just straight up Enrage Warrior instead of Bomb Control. Often it's aggro or tempo Demon Hunter rather than control. But we didn't get a chance to see your rogue. I assume that was just a stealth rogue.
I mean, yeah, it was just stealth Galacron. It was pretty boring. I was actually kind of worried because if I look, the Druid Mara decides the series there actually.
Right.
If I
Yeah,
look at
that's
Druid
what we were
Mara,
thinking too. But I
Druid
mean, there's
Zero-
still the chance that you hit Edwin or Edwin
Oh,
Jr.
yeah, I'm running
and
double
blow the
questing
Druid
with,
out of the game too.
Battle Steps and Prep and stuff as well. So I'm running all the stuff that makes Rogue beat Druid.
Right.
But I still could have like I think the Druid Mirror decided that series, and it was an interesting Druid Mirror, and it was close. Like the top deck Fungal Fortunes on my side definitely helped. But yeah, the Druid Mirror decided the series, and Hero can be like that sometimes. I mean LHS. It can definitely be decided in one game depending on what. Because if a class is gone, it's gone. Like I think the one match can decide a whole series, which can be bad sometimes, but I think it makes it exciting.
Absolutely. I thought the queue orders from both sides were really well done. Both of you had the counter queues right. You were put in the position where you had to queue up a druid into a druid and hope you won the mirror, and it paid off. Overall, it was pretty entertaining. I thought both of you played really well, and you hit your power spikes at the right times, and Icicles just couldn't answer it.
For sure. I think drawing ramp is good in Druid.
Wise words from LiquidOx. But yeah, I like your point about Hero being that kind of series. It's a swingy type of format in an extra swingy type of meta right now too. So I'm personally hoping things change a little bit with the upcoming expansion. But exciting matches all around, and very well played. Congratulations to you. Do you have any thoughts on playing Dream Crusher? Did you enjoy F2L getting the full sweep over Dad Legend there?
I mean, it's a bit late to be honest. I would have liked to have made playoffs in one series, but we made playoffs in a grand total of 0. This season. I was the only one actually, not by choice, like not because I'm like a big patron or anything, just because I'm too lazy to find other teams. I played on all 3 F2L teams this season. I think I was the only one who played on all 3, and that's just because they asked me first. But none of them made playoffs, so that's great.
Yeah, that is an unfortunate way to end it. But you did get to. It's not guaranteed, but you denied so many points as a team to Dad Legend that you may have effectively denied the defending champion from making playoffs. So that's not nothing.
At least we ruined
That
someone's
sounds
day.
like
There it
stream
is.
paid
Oh
off.
boy. I'm sorry. Apologies from our whole team. Apologies. Because we had nothing. We could have easily just memed around and thrown because we had no reason to try, and we still decided to ruin your day. So I hope you guys hold that dear.
Hey, I for one appreciate the competitive integrity. I like that players try to win in every game regardless of the
sure.
stakes.
For sure. Like I think that's one of the best things about THL is that like people actually like I've mentioned THL to people before and they'll be like, oh, why would you play if you don't get money? Like I rate that everyone plays at a high level and they try their best they can to take it seriously, like regardless of stakes. I think that's a really good thing we have
Yeah,
here.
for sure. And I think there are a lot of good players that are just looking to join. If you're a new player thinking of joining a team, just it's a good time. And recruiting is starting to happen from what I'm understanding. Not officially, but you can always post on free agent and people seem to be talking.
Yeah, everyone's like, you're not actually allowed to recruit teams until captains have been announced, as they like go and recruit teams at the
It's
same time.
officially
Yeah, it's kind of like in real sports, like the NBA or NFL or something, where you know there's like this free agent period, but everybody breaks that.
Yeah, exactly. But
Based, I know you had something another thing you wanted to say. Did it come to you?
It did not, but I do have a new question. What was your meme rogue that you were thinking out?
Maybe Quest. I hadn't
Okay.
I hadn't quite figured that one out yet. I was gonna go Control Demon Hunter, Quest Druid, maybe Pyro. I wasn't sure what I was gonna do with the Warrior. I just assumed it would have got banned. And then I was gonna maybe go Quest Rogue, but it didn't get to happen.
Well,
so
I'm gonna
Nice.
start calling it here just because still have a ton of stuff to do, and I guess we had a great match. I want to thank LiquidOx and Icicles for playing and congratulate LiquidOx one more time. I want to thank RonMexico just for joining us today as a guest, and thank you very much. You did a great job casting as always. And if you enjoy RonMexico, he's been streaming a lot, and we'll be streaming his match against me with both of us in voice chat. It's a hero match for the same, not the same, but it's the same team Base and I are a part of. It's going to be the Spies That Flies versus
Yeah, hey, I appreciate
The
shout out.
Burninators. Yeah, hey, I appreciate the shout out. Match happening in about 4 hours and 20 minutes on my stream,
Yeah,
so that'll be
come
fun.
join us. It's going to be a fun match. We're both going to be on voice, so I think it's going to be hilarious. Baze, thank you as usual. It's always great having you, and it's been great having you today. Sorry if I had a little bit of echo. I tried to talk less and to reduce the volume to make sure it didn't happen. But I believe that's all. Have a good weekend, everyone, and we'll see you next class.
Peace.
All right, good night, everybody.